They were already selected to become generals, and their names were removed, not rejected, removed from the promotion list. So what changed?
Yeah, yeah.
4 officers, already vetted, already chosen, already through one of the most competitive processes in the military, where only a small percentage even make it to the list. And then suddenly, their names were taken off. 2 black men, 2 black men, 2 women. Okay? 2 black men, 2 women. Now the Defense Department says promotions are based on merit. They say the process is fair. They say nothing improper happened. Fine. But here's the problem. This is not how the process is supposed to work. The system is designed so that leadership either approves the list, the entire list, or rejects the list. That's the safeguard. That's what protects the military from political influence. But listen to this article. This article says 2 officers were targeted by Mr. Hegseth, and 2 are black and 2 are women on a promotional list that consists of about 3 dozen officers, most of whom are white males. Mr. Hegseth has been pressing senior Army leaders, including Army Secretary Daniel Driscoll, for months to remove the officer's name off the list. But Mr. Driscoll, citing the officer's decade-long service, has repeatedly refused. Earlier this month, Mr. Hegseth broke the logjam by unilaterally striking the officer's name from the list, though it is not clear he has the legal authority to do so. Now, let's move down the article a little bit more. The frustration with Mr. Hegseth's approach came to a boil last summer during a heated exchange between Ricky Burria, Mr. Hegseth's chief of staff, and Mr. Driscoll about a separate promotion. Mr. Burria chastised the Army Secretary for selecting Major General Antoinette Grant, a combat engineer who served in Iraq and Afghanistan, to take command of the Military District of Washington, said 3 current and former Defense and Administration officials familiar with the exchange. The command provides security and performs ceremonial duties in the nation's capital, and its commander often appears alongside the president at Arlington National Cemetery. Mr. Burria, who is Hegseth's chief of staff, told Mr. Driscoll, the person who maintains the list, that President Trump would not want to stand next to a black female officer at military events, the official said. Mr. Driscoll was shocked. The president is not a racist or a sexist, he told Mr. Burria, according to the officials. Mr. Driscoll then raised the issue with a senior White House official who agreed with his assessment of Donald Trump. Mr. Hegseth's office retreated. General Grant began serving in the position last summer and was promoted to 2-star rank earlier this month. Mr. Burria called the account of this interaction with Mr. Driscoll completely false. So he said he was lying about him saying he didn't want the president, or the president didn't want to stand next to a black female. Okay. But in this case, according to reporting, individual names were removed after the fact. That's what has people inside the system asking questions about this. Because if the officers were already selected based on performance, experience, and evaluation, then what changed? One officer was reportedly flagged for a paper written years ago, another tied to the Afghanistan withdrawal. 2 others not clear of the reason for them getting removed from the list. And this is where it becomes bigger than the 4 names, because now every officer watching this is asking, what determines if you get advancement? Is it still performance? Is it still record? Or is it something else totally? And once that question enters the system, it doesn't say small. It affects trust. It affects morale. It affects how people view the leadership there. Because the military runs on one thing above everything else: confidence in the chain of command. And if that confidence starts to crack, even slightly, the impact spreads fast. So the question is, not political, not emotional, why were those names removed after they were already selected? Why? But let me ask you something straight up. What kind of leadership looks at a trained, qualified military officer and decides the real issue is how they got the job? Not their performance, not their record, not their leadership, but whether they were a DEI hire. Because that's what we're starting to see here with this administration. People, especially black officers, being quietly or publicly questioned, labeled, or reduced to one idea. They only got there because of diversity, DEI. And I need you to hear this. That's not just fucking offensive. That's dangerous. Because the moment you start telling people in the military that some of them are there for reasons other than merit, you are weakening the entire military structure. Think about what the military is built on, okay? Trust, chain of command, confidence in leadership. Now imagine you're a soldier and you're being told directly or indirectly that your commanding officer might not actually deserve their promotion. What does that do? It plants doubt. It creates the hesitation. And hesitation in a military environment, that gets people hurt or even killed. So this idea that you can just casually out people as DEI hires, like this idiot Hegseth is trying to do, like it's some kind of political talking point, is one of the dumbest, most short-sighted things you could do, because you're not just attacking individuals, you're attacking legitimacy. And let's talk about the assumption behind it, okay? Because it's not neutral, it's targeted. Nobody walks into a room, sees a white officer, and says, yeah, he must be a diversity pick. That doesn't happen. But a black officer, a woman, someone who doesn't fit the traditional look, now suddenly people start asking questions, crazy questions, not about what they've done, but about how they got there. And that tells you everything, because what's really being said isn't, we care about merit. What's really being said is, we don't fully believe you belong here. And that's a problem in the military, not just morally, structurally. Because the United States Department of Defense doesn't run on feelings. It runs on standards, evaluations, years of training, testing, promotional boards, performance reviews. You don't just DEI your fucking way into high-level military leadership. That's not how that works. So when an administration or voices align with it, start pushing this bullshit narrative, you have to ask the question, do they actually understand the system they're talking about? Or are they just playing politics with it? Because y'all must be playing politics with it. Because if you truly understood how the military promotions work, you would know how insulting and frankly ridiculous that claim about DEI sounds. These are people who have gone through years, decades of proving themselves in environments where failure is not theoretical, it's very real. So to reduce all of that to, oh, you're a DEI hire because you're black, or you're a DEI hire because you're a female, isn't just wrong, it's fucking ignorant. And here's where it gets worse. Because once that idea gets pushed out publicly, you don't control where it goes. It spreads, it ranks, it converses, it's perception. Now you've got people second guessing leadership, second guessing authority, second guessing decisions. Not because of evidence, but because of narrative. And narrative is powerful, especially when it's repeated enough. Donald Trump ought to know that. So now the question becomes, why would any administration allow that to happen in their army? Why would you introduce doubt into your own military structures like that? Why would you risk undermining confidence and leadership like that? There are only two answers. Either they don't understand the consequences of their actions, or they do, and they think it's worth it. It should concern everybody, because the military is not the place for social experiments in distrust. You don't play games with perception when lives are on the line. You don't casually question legitimacy when coordination and trust are everything. That's not where you score political points. That's where you maintain stability. And if you can't tell the difference between those two, you shouldn't be anywhere near the decision-making process. Because this ain't just about one officer. This ain't just about one moment. This is about what happens when you start planting the idea that some people in critical roles didn't earn their place. That idea doesn't stay contained. It spreads, it sticks, and it damages everything that it touches. So no, this isn't just a conversation about DEI or two black officers or two female officers. This conversation is about competence, about judgment, about this administration's judgment, about whether leadership understands the weight of those systems they're influencing. Because if you think calling trained military officers DEI hires is harmless, you don't understand the military. You don't understand leadership, and you damn sure don't understand consequences. And that kind of thinking, that's not just dumb, that's dangerous. And I'll see you guys in the next one.